Okay, we're going to move on to our second award. Our second award is called the Legendary Leader Award. And to present that, I'd like to welcome to the stage John Walsh of Accenture, who will be presenting. John?
Before I start, I'd actually like to start by congratulating Karen Tucker and the Churchill Club for continuing to put on these events and bringing together such inspirational leaders for all of us to take advantage of. And looking at this, I know when we talked about it in the board meeting, you said it was going to be special. This is solid bronze. This is really a work of art, handcrafted, beautiful. Accenture is very proud to be part of this organization and part of this event. And we're excited to be presenting the Legendary Leader Award this evening. The Legendary Leader Award is about inspirational leadership, innovation, and contributions to others' success. When the Churchill Club asked its Academy to nominate honorees for this award, we invited them to identify people out there who see a brand new future. People who frame industry and societal needs and envision unique, groundbreaking solutions to some of the world's hardest problems. At the Churchill Club and Accenture, we believe that the greatest leaders are also great mentors, with unique ability to recognize, develop, and catalyze teams to achieve unprecedented results. We ask the Academy to nominate legendary leaders who have enormous impact through both their visionary leadership and their uncanny ability to inspire and motivate their teams to deliver revolutionary breakthroughs. Continuing a theme of the evening, how many people out there have a PayPal account? How many people have an electric car and have a Tesla electric car, or have signed up for a Model S besides me? Well, there's more than I thought, but in this audience I would expect nothing less. And how many people want to go to the moon? There we go. So, as a Churchill Club board member, it is my distinct privilege to present the 2011 Legendary Leader Award to Elon Musk. Please welcome Elon to the stage. We'll also invite Steve Jurvenson to come up, who will be conducting a short interview. Congratulations.
This is a very tiny hat.
Explorer in the Amazon.
I dare you to try. Great, we'll have a seat. Fantastic. Well, this is going to be fun. This is one of my favorite topics. One of my favorite people. But in the spirit of full disclosure, I should mention who I am. Steve, can you hear me okay? A little louder. I am a venture capitalist. I work at a firm called Draper Fisher Jurvetson. And in the spirit of full disclosure, I should mention I'm on the board of SpaceX and Tesla. And then if we also include SolarCity and Everdream, we have invested 3 times now in companies that Elon has personally co-founded, and twice in companies run by his cousins. So I think it's safe to say anything the extended family does, we're all over it. It's a pretty amazing story. I first met him in 1995 when he arrived in Silicon Valley for the first time and was looking to start Zip2. He came via Pennsylvania, via Canada, originally an immigrant from South Africa. And that was his first success, sold to Compaq. He then went on to co-found the companies that I mentioned, some of which we'll get into in the Q&A later, and has had an amazing tear at it. If you step back, it's quite remarkable that the first viable production electric car of the modern era, thanks to Elon, inspiring other car companies to follow that lead. The first company that has a successful alternative to the space shuttle, right? The entire US space program, it seems, is pivoting on whether SpaceX can fill that gap. You look at SolarCity, one of the largest, if not the largest, solar installer in America. Again, the company that Elon founded. You know, at some point, when you think about the industries he's gone up against, financial institutions, the automotive industry, the military-industrial complex, as an immigrant from South Africa, it's kind of mind-boggling to think how one could do that. At any moment, you expect him to say, "I am Iron Man," and then you realize the movie was based on him. So it just gets more interesting. I think it's interesting. Every entrepreneur wants to change the world. We heard about game changing just a moment ago. But Elon asks, why stop at the world, right? I mean, we got a lot more to do than just fix this planet. So As you've heard, the Academy nominated each of these winners tonight. I think it's worth mentioning that hundreds of people contributed their thoughts and written in ballots as to why a certain person should win. I thought I'd read you a couple of quotes from the nominees. The first, Elon Musk is probably the most diversely successful repeat entrepreneur in the world. Nobody compares, revolutionizing the stodgy industries of banking, cars, and rockets. Not even Steve Jobs is that diverse. Or another person, an incredible serial entrepreneur who does not know how to take can't be done as an answer. I also like a quote from Elon recently on the currently syndicated Bloomberg TV profile. It's been an hour-long program you can watch on him, where he says, an engineer is the closest thing to a magician that exists in the real world. So with that thought in mind, I'd like to start with that magic. And what motivated you to build the companies, the ones that you're currently the CEO of, let's say SpaceX and Tesla?
Sure. Well, when I was in college, I just thought about what are the 3 areas that would most affect the future of the world. And by the way, I apologize for not being at my best. I'm quite ill right now. And the areas that I thought would most affect the world were the internet, sustainable energy, and space exploration, particularly making life multiplanetary. And I didn't expect that I'd be involved in all 3 areas, but as it turned out, I've been able to. But it's really not, none of the companies have really been from the perspective of what's like the rank ordered, best return on investment. Sorry. But I think it's generally true that if you solve a problem that is important to the world, then you end up creating a valuable company.
So tell us just a bit, for those who don't know, what most excites you today about SpaceX and Tesla, for example.
Okay. Well, at SpaceX, we're getting ready to do a mission to dock with the space station. That's probably going to launch in December or January. Things got a little messed up because the Russian Soyuz failed recently, so that kind of threw the schedule for a bit of a loop. But yeah, we're going to be do the first commercial docking with the space station in history, hopefully, in a few months. We also have the Falcon Heavy development, which is going to be the largest rocket in the world, more than twice the payload capability of the space shuttle. And there's some secret things I wish I could talk about, but I can't. For Tesla, the big thing that Tesla's working on is the Model S, which is an all-electric sedan with a range of over 300 miles. I really think it's our goal with the Model S is to make it not the best electric car, but the best car of any kind. Mm-hmm. We've got a big event coming up on October 1st for all the reservation holders of the Model S. At our Fremont factory, we bought the NUMMI factory from Toyota and GM. It's an awesome factory, actually. So we're going to let people tour the factory and see all the cool manufacturing equipment. I really like manufacturing, by the way. I think it's really super cool.
100% in America, too. Which is,
manufacturing is really interesting.
So you've mentioned becoming a multiplanetary species with SpaceX and with Tesla, that all vehicles will eventually be electric. And that is a bold vision that you paint for the future, and was your founding vision.
I think it's totally obvious, but
totally obvious. just enlightening the world. Do you think the employees that join, when we switch to topics of leadership and mentorship, do you think everyone who joins SpaceX and Tesla shares that view? Is it something that is sort of the guiding light for them?
I think a lot of people do. Probably most people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the companies are getting sort of big-ish now. I mean, well, actually, all 3 companies, SolarCity, Tesla, and SpaceX, are around 1,500 people and growing quite quickly. So they're collectively approaching 5,000 people. So I'm not quite as in touch with what everyone thinks as I used to be, but I think it does matter if you're trying to attract the world's best talent, to have a goal that is world-changing. Mm-hmm. So, because I think if you can combine, I think there's sort of three things. If you can combine having a work environment where people really look forward to coming to work in the morning, it's really intrinsically interesting. That there can be the second thing, that there can be a really significant financial outcome for them, buy stock options, that kind of thing. But then the third thing is, if you succeed in the thing you're doing, is it going to matter to the world? Is it really going to make a difference? And I think the third item is very important for the best talent.
Do you find that in going against stodgy industries that have been fairly stable for generations, that's easier to recruit some of the best and brightest around that theme? Versus, let's say, another internet company going against other internet companies.
I find recruiting the best talent is always tough. I mean, that's really the limiter I find on company growth. It's getting easier now with SpaceX and Tesla, because they're reaching a level of maturity where it doesn't sound completely insane. And in the beginning, it just sounded completely insane because that nobody ever really created a private rocket company. If you say to somebody, "Well, we're going to start a rocket company," like, "Well, what sort of aerospace things have you done before?" "Well, nothing." "What sort of physical objects have you made before?" "Nothing." "Who are your competitors?" Well, let's see, domestically it's Boeing and Lockheed. Internationally it's the Chinese government, the Russian government, and the European collective government. Like, all highly subsidized. This doesn't sound like a winning proposition. So it was definitely difficult to recruit people in the beginning. It's gotten a lot easier now. I think it's gotten to the point where, for Tesla and SpaceX and SolarCity, where a lot of the best talent in the industry actually wants to work at those three companies.
Right. What is your favorite time at work? What gets you most excited?
Well, the thing I enjoy the most is engineering and design meetings, just sort of working collaboratively with the lead engineers on a project to come up with something new and interesting that is meaningfully better than something in the past. That's my favorite activity.
And you're chief architect at Tesla and fundamentally as well at SpaceX.
Yeah.
Another question that sort of begs, of course, and the Steve Jobs analogy comes to mind when he was running Pixar and Apple jointly as CEOs both, is how do you lead and mentor pan company? And you also helped spawn and get SolarCity started as well. When you have intermittent contact like that, is there anything unique that comes to mind, or any special thoughts you have on how you've managed to pull that off, other than just being overwhelmed by the whole thing?
I was trying to think of some sort of pithy advice, and I don't really have any, or nothing that I can think of. I mean, the way I think of a company is like the outcome of a company is the vector sum of the people within it. And so you want to make sure people are kind of pointed in the right direction and that they're able to work to their maximum potential. And so when I have meetings, that's kind of what I think about. I just,
And do you find that others, recognizing that you're, spanning companies, naturally fill in a way that, in an operational sense or a day-to-day sense that?
Yeah, I guess it seems to work. It was very, very tough for a while there because before the executive teams were filled out, because I was, in addition to being CEO, I was actually also doing a bunch of other roles. That was very, very strenuous. But now we've got really great teams at both SpaceX and Tesla and SolarCity, so it's much easier.
Right. How about from a personal level? If you look back, there's a lot of people here in the audience who marvel probably at the folks who are coming on stage today. And I guess, is there any reason you think you've had so many entrepreneurs in your extended family? Is this just something you were taught, or how did that work out?
Well, I should point out my extended family is quite big. Not all of them are
So
successful entrepreneurs.
Yes. Statistically, it's just.
I have a lot of cousins. You have
haven't met all the deadbeats.
Right, exactly. Only a few of them should be running companies. I mean, Leonard and Pete are particularly awesome. You know, they're the co-founders and CEO and president of Solar City. Yeah, I don't know how it worked out that way.
Was there anything your parents did that parents in the audience should emulate? Because to be fair, his brother has also started companies.
Yeah.
Zip2, they co-founded together. He's got a couple other businesses he's done on the side. One was recently acquired, so it's not like he's any slouch.
No, Kimmel's really good. I had a terrible upbringing. So I can only think of counterexamples.
That's going to be very encouraging for the rest of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, the thing, I had a lot of adversity growing up, and the thing I worry about with my kids is not enough adversity. I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
There's definitely something about the immigrant mentality that we see playing out time and time again in Silicon Valley. So, I guess, lastly, if there's anything you think about when you think about leadership, I wonder if it feels different to you now with, in a sense, a portfolio play of 3 or 4 different companies going on versus if you can think back to the Zip2 days when there was just one activity, just one startup. Your livelihood was based on it. You left an academic program at Stanford to pursue your dream. Although it wasn't heady times, it was the dot-com boom, so it's hard to compare apples to apples. But does it feel different to you now, either through experience, through diversification? How do you compare now versus then?
Well, I mean, certainly Silicon Valley was, I think, a fair bit different, and I was very naive and much stupider than I am now. In fact, I cringe at the stupid things that I did back then. So I wish I could go back and sort of give myself, a slap on the face and say, hey, you're being stupid. It's like as you get older, your perspective just broadens and you sort of understand more of why things are the way they are. So back then I was just sort of working crazy hours. I literally would just sleep under my desk just to avoid going home, because that would just take time. I was just super focused on one thing, and trying to make up for the mistakes that I've made by just working really, really hard. Sorry, I wish I wasn't. My head's somewhat cloudy because of being ill, but. Yeah.
Well, no, that's fantastic. I know he has the flu, so this is a real tribute that he made it here tonight to be with us, and I think he's just a hero. So thank you very much, Elon.
Sure.